So I figured just gonna come out to the woods today and trip alone while filming a video talking about tripping alone. I thought that was a novel idea, but two big hurdles jumping out at me immediately. Number one, there's people here, and there's hardly ever people here. Not that they're up to no good, but pretty much in any public situation, I feel like I'm the one that's up to no good. And also, it's like 106 out, which isn't fun no matter what you're doing. So we'll see how this goes. That's a nice little zoot bench. So I guess this video came about because, I don't know, people in message boards and forums and comment sections and stuff, they seem to be pretty weary about tripping alone and like, oh, do you think I should do it, or how am I supposed to do it, or I'm scared to trip alone. And of course that makes sense, but I've never had that fear. I've always preferred tripping alone. I'm not like an expert on it or anything for that matter, but I am way more experienced in tripping alone than anything else. So I don't want to make a video under the guise of advice and then you guys be like, oh, you told me to drink water when I was on acid and then I'm missing an arm now. Like, that's not on me. I'm just going to tell you guys what I do and what works for me, and you can take it from there, because you know yourselves better than I do. And of course the obligatory trip advice disclaimers of no two trips are the same. Everybody reacts differently to everything. Make sure you test yourself and know your source. It's boring and it's obvious, but I think you're supposed to say things on videos like that. I'm gonna walk around, come with me. Staying hydrated is obviously important, even when you're not doing drugs in the woods or wherever you're choosing to do them. Water's the best. It's when you're tripping, as soon as you get thirsty and you get at some cold water, there is nothing else like it. It's like you can tell your body is made of water, and that's what it needs, and it's just screaming for it. Also, like juice, you know, any kind of juice or fruits. Fruits taste fucking amazing when you're in the magical world. Like, you pop an orange in your mouth, or an apple, or some grapes, or anything like that, like, it'll taste 10 times better than it ever has before. And so yeah, eating and drinking, you know, obviously you can bring some snacks or whatever. I don't really eat a lot when I'm tripping, alone or otherwise, but it's just good to be prepared and have something near you in case you need that and you're not like a walk away from it. You know, you should kind of have everything there with you that you need wherever you're going, whether you're staying put or walking around like I am. You should always have your shit near you, just in case. I don't like surprises. I don't like surprises when I'm tripping. I like to, you know, control an uncontrollable situation as much as I can and at least be prepared for things to happen. And one of the things that does happen every time is that I get fucking thirsty. So water is super important. Look at this. Look at you. What are you doing? Is it hot? Is it hot? You're awesome. Yeah. That's my new buddy. I wish I could take him with me. It's like a Blair Witch art project. Another big thing that I do to prepare is just make sure I'm going to be in a place, like I said, that I can maybe not control the situation, but I'm more prepared for it, and I'm super familiar with it. Like if I'm not in my bed, I'm going to a playground that isn't very far away, that I know how to get there, and I know things are going to be cool there. Or like these woods, I'm very familiar with them, so I don't mind hanging out here. It's been a few years since I've been in these woods, but it still feels awesome to be out here. I'm not going to get lost or anything. It's not like a super public area, and those are like the things that weird me out, would be getting lost or seeing people that I didn't want to. Both of which you can prepare for. This thing though, not entirely sure what I'm looking at. It's pretty cool. I'm sure you've seen this or heard about this or done this yourself. And I certainly used to. It's a fun little idea to write on your hand the time that you dropped your LSD, along with like a little message, like everything's awesome, or you're beautiful, or a smiley face, or something cool like that. And I've done that before, and it's, you know, time dilation's a real tricky beast on LSD, so it is good to know what time you dropped in accordance to what time it is currently. I don't do that, at least the time anymore, because it doesn't affect me, because one of my big rules for myself is I turn my phone off completely. It's just a distraction. There's too many distractions, too many things that'll take me back to this ridiculous place instead of out in the fun where I want to be. You know, it takes a lot of magic away when you go to put on a song that you want to listen to and then you got to sit through an advertisement. Like, that can crumble my whole world at times. So yeah, I get rid of my phone so that the whole time thing doesn't really affect me. But maybe for your first couple times you should, just to get a better idea of like when it starts kicking in for you, or when you start coming down, or when you start peaking. Knowing exactly what time you dropped will probably give you a better idea of that. But like I said, I kill my phone. I can't do it. I can't be on it. And clearly I'm breaking one of those rules right now because I'm on the phone. But this is a situation. Everything's a situation lately. That's why I'm wearing a mask. I'm not doing it because it's fun or to keep warm. I like wearing this mask on these videos because later on people can look back and be like, oh man, that dude was alive when the world became Resident Evil for a few years. I actually prefer tripping alone, now that I've done both many times, and it is fun to hang out with somebody and sit there laughing for hours and hours, and, you know, picking up on each other's ideas before they're even saying it, and all the weird synchronicities and connections that come with that. That's always a riot, and it feels like you're both like figuring out all the secrets of the universe and then forgetting them at the same time and just laughing about it. And had some amazing times with my friends, but I don't really get any introspection that way. I don't learn anything about myself or this place around me, like, at all, because I'm too busy like laughing and giggling and just trying to hang on. Whereas once that person goes home or once I leave, the trip becomes totally different, and I start learning things, and I start reflecting back on maybe the shit that we just talked about, and it's like, oh, that's what we were really talking about, that's what we really meant. Like, I'm not able to get that kind of focus or really concentrate on what things mean until I'm alone. And I've even gotten the feeling like I've been having a really good time with my friend, and then he's like, oh man, maybe I should go soon. And I didn't want to tell him to, yeah, take off, but something was really grabbing at me, like, you know, the trip starts the second he leaves, right? Like, you know, that's when the real trip starts. We got some shit to talk about. And it wasn't going to happen with my friend there. So yeah, I prefer to do it alone, just because my intentions are different than I think a lot of people. And it's not all about having a good time on LSD. It's about sometimes just getting in the woods and getting rid of all the distractions. And sometimes a friend can be a distraction. Sometimes they can talk about something that'll throw you for a loop, and you didn't really want to talk about that, and now there you are. I've had friends, honestly, while we're peaking, we're in the middle of a deep, good conversation, and then they pull out a suicide note that they've never showed anybody before. And now I'm sitting there and I got to deal with that. And that's fine. I mean, that's a story for another time, but that wouldn't have happened if I was alone. I got way more control when I'm alone. No one's going to play a song you don't like and ruin your world for 3 minutes. I'm going to listen to exactly what I want, when I want. And that way the distractions are all mine. There's people ahead of me. Do I just keep talking? Or do I act like I'm not? See? See? Unprepared. I don't even know what I'm doing. So I like the idea of trip sitters, but I find it pretty unnecessary for me. Because like I said, I'd rather be alone anyways. But I do, like, if I'm going to be staying home, I'll let my girlfriend know, like, you know, baby, I'm getting weird tonight. If I yell for you, will you be able to bring me water? Or help me out of the bathtub? Or anything I might need like that. But I would never do anything that I couldn't handle on my own. Because like I said, other people are just distractions, and they're not... I don't need somebody who's sober sitting in a room with me, listening to me talk about, like, the universe and all its intricacies and how they're affecting my worldview right now, when it's not going to make sense. It's probably going to annoy the person, and they're probably, like, scrolling Facebook or some shit waiting for you to come down, and that's going to bother you. So trip sitters I don't think is completely necessary. I don't need a guide or anything like that. The best trip sitter I've ever had is my cat, and I don't need much more than that. If you got a pet, Jesus Christ, you trip with your pet for a few hours, give them all the attention and love that you know they deserve. You guys will bond so hard. You have no idea. I have a cat that barely pays attention to me. She was a kitty, and she came in during my last DMT trip and just sat down next to me and looked at me like, what are we doing? And I'm like, this fucking cat. All right, well, you're going on a ride with me. And that cat has been my best friend ever since. Because somehow, cosmically, I feel like we experienced something together. And she wasn't trip-sitting me, and she wasn't tripping, but there was a connection there. And that wouldn't have happened if a person was in the room, I don't think. Lily pads. I think it's weird that I dig lily pads so much, because I don't think I've ever heard somebody else talk about their affinity for lily pads. So look at all the advice I've come up with and then ignored. I said you gotta bring water. I dropped my water. I said be prepared if you go into a public area, and there's a ton of people around that I wasn't expecting. I said I shut my phone off, and clearly my phone isn't off because I'm talking into it right now. And the sun's melting it in my hand. There's a snake. That's fine. There can be a snake. I didn't have a rule against it. I don't know if you guys... Oh, yeah. See this fucking vein in my head? I call that my migraine vein. That is some serious blood pressure. That is ridiculous. That's not going to be fun later. So I guess that kind of leads to another point. Like, if you got any medical issues that are going to interfere with your trip, then you probably should take care of those first, or find a way to work around them. Like, I'm going to be going home today with a migraine, for sure. And I just dropped all my water. This is going to shit quickly. Well, I'll find more water. I'm pretty resourceful. But yeah, like I was saying, you know, I get bad kidney stones, and sometimes they don't affect me for weeks and weeks on end, and then they'll surprise me and just feels like my kidney's being stabbed and ripped apart from the inside. And that happened when I was tripping once. I was having a good time. I think I was tried watching a movie that day, which I'm not a big fan of watching movies on LSD. I'd rather get out and do something. I think I was watching Rango or some shit, and there it is, huge poke in the kidney. And LSD is not like a painkiller. It's not going to numb the pain because you're in this psychedelic realm or whatever. Like, that's not the way it works. If anything, it amplified it and like sent me on this weird spiral where all I could think about were my kidney stones and how like how many things in my life that it's affected. And I started tracing events back to my kidney stones and jobs I've lost because of my kidney stones and opportunities I've missed. And it sent me in a place that I didn't want to be in and definitely didn't need to be at the time. Didn't help me at all. I already know that they suck. So if you got any medical concerns or anything like that, obviously take care of them so that they don't destroy your world when they pop up unexpectedly. Starting to slow way down because of the severe heat. I feel like the sun is screaming at me. So I'm probably just gonna kill it here. I don't know how many minutes I've filmed. It doesn't matter. You know, whether you're locked down or locked up or knocked up, whatever your situation is, thank you for watching. Because I know I'm just another distraction. And of course you could be doing something better. But you chose this. And that's awesome. There's a Third Eye Blind lyric that says, I would walk with my people if I could find them. And I've always loved that and always believed in that. And I think you people might be my people. So maybe I'm not tripping in the woods alone. Maybe I'm walking with my people. It's a nice thought for you. Have a good one.